September 1977, Elvis Presley records his final song. His voice cracks. He cries. 3 weeks later, he's dead. What happened in those final days reveals a secret that changed music history forever. Forget everything you think you know about Elvis Presley. Forget the jumpsuits, the Vegas shows, the movies. We're going back to something darker, something that's been hidden for almost 50 years. This is the story of how the most famous voice in the world slowly disappeared, how the king of rock and roll became a prisoner in his own mansion, how prescription drugs, isolation, and the music industry destroyed the greatest entertainer who ever lived. And here's what nobody tells you. Elvis knew he was dying. He recorded songs about death. He told his closest friends goodbye. He gave away his possessions like a man preparing to leave. This isn't just another Elvis documentary. This is an investigation into the final 2 years of a man who had everything and lost it all. A man who stood on stage in front of thousands, but died completely alone. So let's go back to 1976, the year everything started falling apart. December 1976. Elvis Presley is 41 years old and weighs over 250 pounds. Just 15 years ago, he was the most desired man on the planet. Women fainted at his concerts. Men wanted to be him. He revolutionized music, destroyed racial barriers, and became the first true rock and roll superstar. Now, he can barely walk upstairs without losing his breath. But here's what makes this tragic. Elvis is still selling out concerts, still making millions, still adored by fans who pack arenas to see him. They don't know that backstage, between shows, Elvis is collapsing, that his doctor is giving him injections just to get him through performances. Let's talk about that doctor, Dr. George Nicopolis. Everyone calls him Dr. Nick, and Dr. Nick is prescribing Elvis an insane amount of medication. We're not talking about a few pills. In 1977 alone, Dr. Nick prescribed Elvis over 10,000 doses of amphetamines, barbiturates, narcotics, tranquilizers, sleeping pills, and laxatives. 10,000 doses in 1 year. That's 27 pills per day on average. Elvis takes pills to wake up, pills to perform, pills to sleep, pills to lose weight, pills to calm his anxiety, pills to ease his pain. His entire existence revolves around medication schedules. His inner circle, the Memphis Mafia, they're called, watches him deteriorate. Some try to help. Most enable him because their salaries depend on keeping Elvis happy. If Elvis wants pills, they get him pills. If Elvis wants a midnight snack of 8 bacon cheeseburgers, they get him 8 bacon cheeseburgers. Elvis lives at Graceland, his mansion in Memphis, Tennessee. But it's not really living. It's existing. He sleeps all day with blackout curtains covering every window. He wakes up around 4 p.m. He watches TV, eats, takes pills. Sometimes he goes to the shooting range in his basement and fires guns at television sets when shows annoy him. His ex-wife Priscilla has left him. His daughter Lisa Marie is only 9 years old and rarely sees him. His girlfriend Ginger Alden is 20 years old, young enough to be his daughter, and she's terrified of him because his mood swings are so extreme. But Elvis still has his voice. Damaged, yes, not as powerful as the 1950s and 60s, but still capable of magic. And in October 1976, he goes into a recording studio for the last time. October 1976. Graceland's Jungle Room. Elvis has converted his tacky, tiki-themed den into a recording studio because he refuses to travel to Nashville anymore. He's too self-conscious about his weight, too paranoid about photographers catching him looking unhealthy. So RCA Records brings the equipment to him. They set up microphones between the fake plants and animal print furniture, and Elvis records what will become his final album, Moody Blue. The sessions are painful to watch. Elvis's band, some of the best musicians in the world, wait for hours while Elvis sleeps or takes pills or has emotional breakdowns. When he finally appears, he's often so drugged he can barely stand. But then something miraculous happens. The music starts, and for brief moments, Elvis transforms. His voice cuts through the drugs and the pain and the depression. Songs like Moody Blue and Way Down show glimpses of the old Elvis. The Elvis who could make you feel every word he sang. There's one song that destroys everyone in the room, Hurt. It's a ballad about loss and regret. When Elvis sings it, he's not acting. He's confessing. The lyrics talk about being hurt so bad he can't find the words, about feeling like he's lost everything. His voice cracks on certain notes. The high range that used to come so easily now requires visible effort. His backup singers are crying. His band members are looking at each other with worry. Elvis records the song in one take. When it's finished, he walks out of the room without saying a word. His producer, Felton Jarvis, tells the engineer, "That's it. We're not going to get anything better. He's done." Nobody realizes how prophetic those words are. Early 1977, Elvis is scheduled for a massive tour, over 50 concerts across America. His manager, Colonel Tom Parker, has booked every show because he needs the money. The Colonel has gambling debts. He's stolen millions from Elvis over the years through shady contracts, and he needs Elvis performing no matter what condition he's in. Elvis doesn't want to tour. He's exhausted. His body is failing, but he has no choice. He's supporting dozens of people, his band, his backup singers, his bodyguards, his cooks, his entourage. They all depend on his income. The tour starts in February, and it's immediately clear something is very wrong. Elvis forgets lyrics to songs he's sung thousands of times. He slurs his words between songs. Sometimes he just stands on stage, staring at the audience, seeming confused about where he is. His jumpsuit custom made to hide his weight splits during performances. But here's the heartbreaking part. The audiences still love him. They cheer for him. They cry when he sings. Because even at 50% capacity, Elvis Presley is still more charismatic than anyone else alive. After each concert, Elvis collapses backstage. Dr. Nick gives him shots. Elvis sleeps for hours, then takes more pills to wake up for the next show. It's a cycle that's killing him, and everyone knows it. In April, Elvis's bodyguards Red and Sonny West, his cousins who've been with him for decades, get fired. Not by Elvis, by his father Vernon, who's trying to cut costs. The West cousins are furious. They know too much. They've seen too much. So they decide to write a book exposing Elvis's drug abuse. It's called Elvis, What Happened? And it's scheduled to be released in August 1977. When Elvis finds out, he's devastated. These are his family, people he trusted with his life, and they're going to tell the world his secrets. He becomes more paranoid, more isolated. He increases his pill intake. He stops leaving Graceland except for concerts. His weight balloons to nearly 260 pounds. His face is puffy from the medication. His eyes are often glazed and unfocused. His daughter Lisa Marie visits in the summer. She's 9 years old. Years later, she'll say that she barely recognized him, that he seemed like a different person. Sad, lost, defeated. August 1977. Elvis is scheduled to start another tour on August 17th, but he's in terrible shape. Dr. Nick is worried. He tells Elvis he needs to check into a hospital, get clean, rest for months. Elvis refuses. The show must go on. On August 15th, Elvis has a dentist appointment at 10:30 p.m. Yes, 10:30 at night, because Elvis's schedule is completely reversed. His dentist comes to Graceland and fills 2 cavities. Elvis is given codeine for the pain. More pills added to the dozens he's already taking daily. After the dentist leaves, Elvis can't sleep. He plays racquetball with his cousin Billy Smith at 4 a.m. He's breathing heavy, sweating profusely, but he's laughing. For a moment, he seems happy. At 6 a.m., Elvis goes to his bedroom. His girlfriend Ginger is asleep. Elvis takes sleeping pills Placidil and Valium. But they don't work. He's too wired from the other medications in his system. Around 7 a.m., Elvis tells Ginger he's going to the bathroom to read. He often does this, sits in the bathroom for hours reading books about spirituality and religion. He's obsessed with death lately, with what comes after. He tells friends he's ready to see his mother again. She died in 1958, and Elvis never recovered from losing her. Ginger falls back asleep. When she wakes up around 1:30 p.m., Elvis still hasn't come back to bed. She goes to the bathroom and finds the door closed. She opens it. Elvis is on the floor, face down, his pajama bottoms around his ankles. A book about the Shroud of Turin on the floor next to him. Ginger screams. She calls downstairs for help. Elvis's road manager, Joe Esposito, runs up. He finds Elvis cold, not breathing, his face purple. They call 911. The ambulance arrives. Paramedics try to revive him. They rush him to Baptist Memorial Hospital. Doctors work on him for 30 minutes. At 3:30 p.m. on August 16, 1977, Elvis Presley is pronounced dead. He's 42 years old. The official cause? Cardiac arrhythmia, heart attack. But the autopsy reveals the truth. Elvis's body is filled with toxic levels of multiple drugs: codeine, morphine, Valium, Demerol, and at least 10 other substances. The medical examiner wants to rule it a drug overdose, but pressure from the Presley estate and Memphis officials changes the ruling to heart failure. They don't want Elvis's legacy tarnished, but everyone knows the truth. Elvis Presley didn't die from a heart attack. He died from prescription drug abuse, slowly, over years. While doctors, managers, family, and friends watched and did nothing, within hours of Elvis's death, Dr. Nick starts destroying medical records. The Presley family begins a massive cover-up operation. They want the world to remember Elvis as the king, not as a drug addict who died on a bathroom floor. The mainstream media cooperates. News reports focus on Elvis's heart condition. They mention he was overworked. They say he died peacefully. They don't mention the drugs. But the truth leaks out slowly. The autopsy report eventually becomes public. Dr. Nick faces medical board hearings for overprescribing. He loses his license in 1995, almost 20 years after Elvis's death. The book Elvis, What Happened is released the day after his funeral. It becomes a bestseller. But now, instead of being an exposé, it reads like a tragedy, a warning that nobody heeded in time. Over 80,000 people line up outside Graceland to pay respects. The funeral is surreal. Elvis lies in a copper coffin wearing a white suit. His face is so swollen from the embalming and the drugs that some people at the viewing don't believe it's really him. Conspiracy theories start immediately. Some say Elvis faked his death, that he's in witness protection, that he was tired of fame and wanted out. These theories persist for decades, but the reality is sadder and simpler. Elvis Presley was a profoundly lonely man who became addicted to prescription drugs, who was surrounded by people who enabled his addiction because they financially depended on him, who had a doctor more concerned with keeping his famous patient happy than keeping him healthy. Elvis wanted to be loved. He got fame instead. He wanted connection. He got isolation instead. He wanted peace. He got pills instead. Today, Graceland is the second most visited house in America after the White House. Over 600,000 people tour it every year. They walk through the rooms where Elvis lived and died. They see the jumpsuits, the cars, the gold records. They visit his grave in the meditation garden. But do they understand what really happened? Do they know that Elvis Presley, the man who brought black music to white America, who revolutionized rock and roll, who became the blueprint for every pop star who followed, died alone, addicted, and broken? Elvis's legacy is complicated. His music is timeless. Songs like Can't Help Falling in Love, Suspicious Minds, Jailhouse Rock will be played forever. He influenced everyone from the Beatles to Bob Dylan, to Michael Jackson to Bruno Mars. But his death changed how we talk about prescription drug abuse. It exposed how celebrities get special treatment from doctors, how fame can be a prison, how the people around you can love you and destroy you at the same time. Elvis's daughter, Lisa Marie, struggled with addiction her entire life. She died in January 2023 at age 54 from cardiac arrest, the same age her father was when he died. The cycle continued. But here's what I want you to remember. Elvis Presley wasn't weak. He wasn't stupid. He wasn't a joke. He was a poor kid from Tupelo, Mississippi, who had a gift, who changed music forever, who brought joy to billions of people. And the system that made him famous also killed him. The pressure to perform, the doctors who gave him whatever he wanted, the manager who saw him as a money machine, the fans who wanted the young Elvis, not the human Elvis who aged and struggled. In those final recordings in the Jungle Room, you can hear it in his voice. The pain, the awareness that time is running out, the desperate attempt to leave something beautiful behind before it's too late. Elvis Presley gave us his voice. We gave him pills and told him to keep singing. He did, until he couldn't anymore. And on August 16th, 1977, the music finally stopped. If this story opened your eyes to the real Elvis Presley, subscribe for more untold stories about legends who changed the world. Like if you believe Elvis's music will live forever. Comment below. What's your favorite Elvis song? Let's honor the king the right way. by remembering the man, not just the legend.